What's up YouTube, Redbeard's Garage, and welcome back to another video. Today we got the weld pack, the Lincoln Weld Pack 100 up on the workbench. What we're going to be doing is putting a gas solenoid in it so we can run some gas. I got the tank there, and it's ratchet strapped to my workbench because these tanks are under extreme pressure, and if that thing was to fall over and break the top off of it, it would be a rocket flying through this garage. But the reason why you want gas on a MIG welder is flux core welding, which is wire, kind of like soldering wire, flux core solder. It has this kind of chemical inside of it that puts a good layer over the weld so you can get a good atmosphere around the weld, because you want the best, I guess the best setting for melting metal. And I don't know the true science behind it, just doing it off what I've kind of learned from what I've seen. And when you use the gas, it's blowing that gas directly on the weld, so it's getting all the dirty air around it away from it and giving it the best, I guess, the best possible conditions to be melting metal together, fusing metal together, if you will. So the reason you want gas, it's just a lot better atmosphere than the flux can give you. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into to converting this welder over. So hope you enjoy, guys. Okay, we got the other side of this welder opened up. Now what we need to do is look on the board, and if you can see back in there, there are two wiring connectors that are opened up right up there. Now that is the solenoid turn-on connectors. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make some type of a bracket to bolt this thing on this back wall and drill a hole and for the solenoid. As you can see, there's an arrow telling which way the gas should flow. So we need to mount this thing to the back like so. So what I'm going to do is make a 90 bracket that will bolt this right on, and then we'll drill the appropriate size hole in the back of the case. Okay, I found this bracket that I think was used for a short shifter, and this 90 right here is almost perfect for it. So we're going to put it in the vise and cut it right down this edge, and then drill our holes in it for the solenoid to bolt to. Okay, I got that bracket all made up. The center hole was already in there, so I drilled two side holes and got those two bolts and nuts. And as you can see, of course this will go in the inside, but as you can see, it lines up perfectly. I did have to open up this hole a little bit more than I wanted to. The reason why is I used a step bit down here, and I actually should have went about a 1/4 inch higher, and it was hard to measure the distance because I could not find my measuring tape for the life of me. My son was playing with it about 20 minutes ago, so who knows where that bad boy's at. And yeah, so we got that all mounted up. Who gives a flying squirt what that looks like? It'll bolt right up once I get my hose. This is just a barb I was using for testing purposes only, so I need to take this in to Napa with me and get the correct fittings, and then we can put everything together, bolt that bad boy in there, and then plug it up right up there. Okay, we got the regulator put in. That's the little bracket I had made, and then we ran this clear hose over there through that hole, and then I don't know if you can see it, but down there to the nipple. And like I said, I made that little 90-degree bracket so it just lines up perfectly. They only had a plastic barb for this. I could not find brass anywhere, so we might fix it later, because you can see if you pull on it, it does flex some. I'll just try to be cautious of that. And I left about 6 foot of line. Sorry for the mess in the floor. We just cleaned up the garage some. But yeah, we got like 6 foot or so of this hose. The tank isn't going to be far from the welder anyways. This is just clear 3/16 line. You get this at like co-ops and stuff. But yeah, so now we're ready to weld. We just got to feed our wire through. We got our wire adapter in that lets us put the 10-pound spool on there. We just need to feed it through the line. I need to have my wife hold that straight and pull the trigger while I make sure it guides in there correctly. And then today we picked up the nozzle that we needed. We already had the tip, so we're ready to go, guys. Just got to throw everything together, hook up the gas, and we're ready to weld. We got our welding hood in as well, so let's throw it the rest of the way together, and let's throw some test welds down. Okay, just did my first ever weld. Weld this piece of flat stock to this angle iron, and I think for the first weld I've ever done, that looks pretty dang good. So I'll set the camera up and we'll do some live welding. Okay, YouTube, I hope y'all enjoyed that video on the welder. You can do this to a lot of MIG welders. The cheap Harbor Freight ones usually doesn't have the inputs on the board and don't have the barb on the feed mechanism. So a lot of these welders you can't do it to, but a lot of name brand welders you can. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a little bit. And what do you think about my first weld? I know you could see other welds on that piece of metal, and what I meant by my first weld was that was actually the second time I've ever welded two pieces of metal together. I did a bunch of test welds. That piece I've had for that piece of angle iron I've had for a year or so. I used to have a welder a while back and barely messed with it, and then got rid of it, and then finally got this set up, and this was determined to weld. And right off the bat, I mean, I understand how welding works, the movements you're supposed to make, so it all kind of came natural to me. So yeah, look forward to a lot of go-kart builds. We got a lot of go-karts added to the horde and a couple more surprises. So stay tuned for some great videos this week. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Redbeard's Garage, and I'm out, guys.